What is up, people? BP here, and oh yeah, today we are going to be talking about a very fun subject, and that is dating in the church, modern women and the church, and what can we do about it? So, and this is going to sound very sexist today. I'm so sorry, but that's okay because guess what? This is my channel, and on my channel, it's a man's world. Especially when God is male. Sorry, ladies. God is not a female. Anyways, this is funny. Oh, my goodness. I demand equality between men and women, except when I get special treatment for being a woman. Wow. Woo! We are turning up the sexism, boys, on this channel, but that's okay. This is another sexist meme. How clever. I do apologize, ladies, to my female audience. Please bear with me. This is not intended to hurt your feelings that much. Woo! Do you even have feelings anymore? Gee whiz. Pretty soon you guys are going to be, pretty soon you ladies are going to be filing for divorce from the church. What does this one say? Let's take a look. I'm sad today. I'm here. So the girl's like sad, but apparently she's got like a large support system. When a guy gets sad, he's like, I'm sad today. And the computer's like, I'm here. Woo! Girls do not know the meaning of loneliness. I think I was watching something the other day about loneliness statistics. What was it? Loneliness and old age. It was a very good. Oh yeah, this is it. They were talking about how like a lot of old people,
you see this
especially women, they tend to outlive men. So therefore, like by the time you're 85, 90, I mean, you're pretty much, if you're a woman, you're outnumbering men like 3-1. So for every 3 women, there's 1 guy. Hey, let that be a lesson, guys. If you want polygamy, wait till you're 85. You'll have plenty of selection at that age. Anyways, but yeah, so they're like, oh, you know, the women are very lonely and all this and that. And I'm thinking, dude, imagine being a man, especially in our modern day and society where, you know, you get married and then divorced 10 years later, the wife takes your kids. And then because you're, I don't know, 45 and male, you cannot find a partner because nobody wants you. So you have like 40 years to go without a partner. As a man, that's terrible. And typically, you know, men tend to isolate. Males isolate themselves very much, whereas women, they tend to be more social. Even in old age, they still have their children that come and visit. They still have their girlfriends. They still have connections to the church. Men, no. Men commit suicide in their old age. Matter of fact, in this particular video here, I encourage you guys to watch it when you get a chance. Basically, men, there's a problem with suicide with older men. They get to that old age, their kids don't come to visit. Maybe their spouse died 20 years ago. Or maybe they went through a divorce and never got remarried because they were too ugly or, you know, not charming enough or whatever the case may be. So they have no social circle. They are completely alone. And yeah, they take their own lives. It's a very sad, tragic circumstance. And I wonder if this is the right one. Maybe I've got the wrong one. Maybe not. I don't know. Nonetheless, there's a few of them out here on the internet you can watch. Oh, this is it. This is the one, the MPT report. This guy right here, I might just let you listen to it. It's very, very sad. But basically, it pretty much deals with the situation of being lonely as a man. as obviously an older person. So just to kind of prove my point, and then we're going to get back into the whole subject of what do you do about modern dating in the church? What can the church do about this? And what can we learn from this? So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. Let me pause this music real quick and let you guys listen to this.
T reports. Aging matters.
On an annual basis in the U.S., we lose close to 7,000 older adults to suicide. For an older adult, when you've just retired.
Now, mind you, he's talking about the majority of that 7,000 number is mostly men. So if you're a woman, chances are if you get to 85 years old, you might be a little bit lonely, but you won't kill yourself. Now, if you're a guy, you do have that risk factor. So that's what I kind of want to bring to you guys' attention here today. But anyways, let me let this video play out.
And you've lost your spouse and you're on a fixed income, you start to feel that loneliness. And that's what leads to someone that thinks about suicide. And it's important to understand that no one dies by suicide for one reason.
She said, your father's dead. She said he killed himself. Looking back, I don't think he really prepared himself for what he would do at retirement. And the more you become withdrawn and away from what the life you've built, then it's very easy to fall into depression.
And we've got to be able to educate the community of the warning signs. And so when you think about an older adult that withdraws and stops attending church, or maybe stops going to the old timers club, we might hear verbal comments that I feel a burden to my family. I wish I weren't here any longer. I am requesting everyone that watches this to be able to say, it is okay to ask the question, are you thinking about suicide? You are not giving them the thought that they haven't thought about. If we just ask the question and they do tell you that they are thinking about suicide, guess what? It will lower their anxiety and it will open up the communication to be able to get some resources for that person that you're working with.
I'm trying to find I wanted them to talk more about that one individual here in this particular picture, and they really didn't do that. NPT reports, let's see if this is the one that I was looking for. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it in this particular one. Doesn't look like it. I feel like this is a dead end, but probably should have done a little more research before starting the video, but that's okay. So let me just go ahead and explain. So this guy right here, if you can see this picture of this gentleman, this black gentleman. So the story is he was a truck driver, 40 years, retired. When he retired, and this is a Bible-believing Christian. This guy was a Christian as far as we can understand. He felt isolated and lonely after his retirement. I think he fell into some health issues, so he was very isolated. His wife was dead, all these issues. So he goes into the Bible, tries to find some justification for taking his own life, ends up taking his life. And they wanted to, the news broadcasters, the news station was trying to bring it to the attention of the public, like, hey, if people are at a vulnerable state in life, all right, they're at a high risk of taking their life, especially the elderly, and especially men. And, we have this old ideals of, marriage is going to save people from this, which in some cases it kind of does because you have that companion. Companionship is very biblical. Marriage is very biblical. So nobody's opposing that. However, the problem that's going on in our modern society is people are getting divorced at an astronomical rate. Now, back with these older generation, these folks in these older generations, what was going on with them is they would get married and stay married for 50 plus years, and the spouse would die, and they would still have another 10, 20 years to go in their older years. So coping with the death of their spouse of 50 years was like the biggest challenge of all. So, you know, and a lot of people didn't make it. And, you know, and for them to try to get those skills of how to cope with life without your spouse was very difficult for them because they had been their whole life married. So you're talking about trying to learn how to have social skills, going to like staying connected to social functions like church, having friends and family in your social circle that you can rely on and talk to. And that's why I say, you know, it's very important to learn how to hug people that are not your spouse. You need to learn how to hug someone that's a friend. All right. You need to learn how to have emotional support from other people outside of your immediate family. And the reason is because tragedy strikes. You lose your spouse through cancer or maybe a car wreck or something like that. And you find yourself back in the dating market. Now you're older and now you have less value. You have less to offer. And then people who are your age don't want to date you because you're too old. So a lot of people find themselves in these lonely, isolated situations without the coping skills to learn how to function. So this is a major problem in the church. And in my old church, we used to have what was called shut-ins, people that were isolated. They needed constant visitation every week, somebody to talk to. So it's a real problem. And I wanted to bring this up because, well, there's a paradigm shift in our society. What's going on is you have the old way of society functioning, which was husband, wife, and commitment. Now, you and I both know as Bible-believing Christians that the Bible commands commitment, right? However, that's not honored anymore, especially when you have an emotional gender who's been fully empowered. Okay, now, if you think about it, if you were to study marriages, modern marriages, okay, the majority of divorces are initiated by women. Let's see if I can find it. It's like 80%. Divorce rate in America by gender. Okay, I don't know if this is going to show. Let me see if I can find it over here. But anyways. Okay. Divorce rate. How about divorce initiated by gender in America? Okay, so nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. This is a problem. And I think a lot of that has to do with a couple things. If I think back to my own experience, I was fully committed to my marriages. I've been married twice. Both times the women filed for divorce. And what I found is there's a pattern, and the pattern is very simple. Either there's transgressions on the man's part and a failure to forgive on the woman's part, or there's a lack of needs being met on either end. And usually it's sex. Sex is usually a problem. Money and sex, biggest problems. And typically what will happen is men will still desire their wives after years and years and years, but the women no longer are attracted to the husband due to things like, weight gain or health or just because it's someone they've been with for years and years and years. So what ends up happening is, although the husband still provides and still does his part, what will happen is, the wife will stop. She'll stop, I hate to say it like this, but stops putting out. So when that happens, the husband gets fed up and he's like, look, I didn't sign up for this. I married you with the full comprehension of you were going to put out for the rest of your life like you're supposed to. At least that was his understanding about the deal, the contract. Unfortunately, people do not honor contracts anymore. So what happens is, there's a breach of contract. And it's both on male and female parts. I hate to say it, but yes, both are to blame. So, so guys will be like, hey, why are you stopping the sex? I thought we were married. I thought it was supposed to be this way. And the wife's like, no, I don't want you anymore. Go do what you want or whatever. But on top of that, the vows are no longer honored till death do us part. It's more of a convenience factor nowadays. Oh, he gets on my nerves. Oh, my ex was better than him. Oh, they start comparing the husband with other men that they've been with. Infidelity starts happening. And like I told you before, when there's a trespass in the marriage, either the husband or the wife cheats, what will happen typically is the husband is more readily available to forgive. And this is a general rule of thumb. This is not every case, okay? I understand there's exceptions to the rule. We're looking at the broad picture here, okay? I understand some men are not interested in sex, but as a general rule of thumb, they are. So what happens is when there's a trespass on the wife's part, say she sleeps with the pool boy, right? What will happen is the husband will be more readily available to forgive, more ready to say, yes, let's work on our marriage. I forgive you. But there won't be that same exact reciprocation on her end. So if she finds another woman in your phone, for example, you're texting the secretary or you're talking to someone else or even sending pictures, guess what's going to happen? She's going to give you those divorce papers. You're going to find yourself in divorce court, and now you're going to be looked at in the eyes of the church as an outcast. All right? Even though you very much would have forgiven her for the same exact thing to honor your vows and stay together, she is not. So, this is the problem with feminism. All right? Women wanted freedom. That's fine. You can be free to go to the workplace and make money and sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. But at this point in time, do not expect good Christian men to commit to you. It's just not going to happen, especially when divorce rates are falling, marriage rates are actually at a decline. This is actually a problem for a two-parent household, especially in the eyes of God. God desires that men and women stay together for the kids. That was the whole purpose of the marriage. Because what people don't understand is that marriage, the intent of marriage is the kids. It's not, yes, it's for companionship. Yes, I get it. But ultimately, it is for the kids because guess what? There is no marriage in the afterlife. Does nobody realize this? Has nobody read the Bible? Let me read to you Matthew chapter 22. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife to his brother. Likewise, the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. And Jesus answered and said unto them, You do err, not knowing the Scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. So, Jesus was saying here, in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. which means
Did you know that there is an easy
marriage
way-
is only specifically reserved for this life. It is not reserved for the next. And the reason is because we will technically be married to the Lord Jesus and will be made as the angels of God in heaven. So marriage is designed for the children, mostly, specifically, but also for companionship, because God said it is not good that the man should be alone. So, when you as a man or a woman took your vows to say, I love this person, I want to be with them for the rest of my life, you bound yourself under a vow and said, come hell or high water, no matter what, if this guy loses his job or gets a promotion, I'm sticking by him. And yes, most men are saying, I agree. Those are my vows. That's what I want to do. However, it's clear, numbers don't lie. 70% of divorces initiated by women. Among college-educated women, this number jumps up to 90%. So guess what? If you married a career woman, you're probably going to face divorce. So you have a very high chance that not only is your wife going to leave you and take you for all that you have, but you're going to be an outcast in the eyes of the church. So, how do we fix this? What's the solution? All right, and I believe that it is the coping skills of being without a spouse that you have to learn, the skills that you have to learn and acquire. Building a solid social circle with friends and family outside of your spouse. This is the key. And also maintaining your sexual market value. What is that? Some of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. You've been out of it for a long time. Welcome to the manosphere. Sexual market value. Sexual market value, according to his definition, is how much does the rest of society want to breed with you. Has nothing to do with how relatively sexually attractive you are, okay? So, what sexual market value is, in my personal opinion, is your attractiveness. Do you work out? Are you clean cut? All right, do you have both eyeballs and 2 arms and 2 legs, okay? How can you seduce the other gender? Are you good at it? Okay, if the answer is at 55, you can attract no females, well, your sexual market value is very low. So, a key to having a strong social circle is actually having a very high sexual market value. This includes, for men, not just your physical appearance, but also your financial status. So, if you've been through divorce and you've lost all your money, you're at a disadvantage. However, there's still hope for you as long as you can gather up the pieces and put your life back together after alimony and after child support. So, a lot of men have done this. A lot of men have overcome the odds and beat the odds. Beat the odds of depression, beat the odds of loneliness. So, what is the church? What can the church do about modern dating and relationships? I'll tell you. They need to fully emphasize commitment, because it's not the men who are having problems with commitment. It's the women. The women in this case, as the numbers have proven, are not valuing commitment. They say, yeah, till death do us part. And they cross their fingers like this. And when they find out the guy is going bald or the best friend looks better than he does. And with the current dating market, women have endless options at their fingertips. You do too as a man, but you don't know that because you have not yet built up your sexual market value. So, men, you have a severe disadvantage. Women, you have a high advantage. Good for you. You can choose your partners and decide if you want to be single or not very easily. Men do not have that choice. It is thrown at them, and they have to decide, am I going to survive this or not? It is a life or death situation for a lot of men. And depending on what age you find yourself in this situation can be detrimental to your health, especially your mental health. So what can the church do to help with modern dating and relationships? They need to push commitment. They need to push a fair playing ground that if you get married, wives, you must put out a certain amount per month. Once a month is not going to cut it. Once a week should be the bare minimum for you. Men, you need to maintain your sexual market value. That means keeping the belly off, keeping the belly fat off. That means keeping at looking attractive, being successful, pushing for financial success, not being okay with mediocrity. Okay? Guys, you must maintain your sexual market value to keep your spouse. It's not a guarantee, but it helps. And like I said, with women, you need to value your vows. You must take them seriously. You must take care of each other's needs. And if you don't, well, you can expect to be in divorce court, because that's what's going to happen. And it'll happen over and over and over again until your entire church is filled with old, single people who are lonely and miserable. So, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. And if you've never heard of a church Chad, I will show you who that is right now because he is so funny. Yeah.
Maddie, thank you so much for letting me take you on this coffee date when I got back from my mission trip. Crazy the Lord called me to minister at a 5-star resort in Hawaii, right? I think he's leading me to go more international this next go-round. Turks and Caicos, Cabo, Bora Bora, whatever the Lord's calling me to and whatever my GoFundMe account allows, right? But I'm in town for the next couple of weeks. I would love to hang out with you a little bit more, specifically after 9 p.m. at my place, just to get to know you a little better. I'm not looking for like a relationship or anything, just because I'm always traveling on the go ministering, but let me get your snap. I'd love to hang out and watch some Netflix soon. Maddie, thank you so much for letting me take you on.
Yeah, you know, I mean, hey, whatever. All right, guys, be realistic. Okay, you're getting back out there. If you're getting back out in the market, all right, to date, be realistic. All right, especially if you're coming across a lot of worldly Christians. They're going to expect a lot more, okay? And then on top of that, the market is so competitive. Like, you really have no idea the options some of these ladies have. The men that they mess with in your city, they're over 6 feet tall. They have muscles. They have six-packs. All right? They have nice places. Like, they are homeowners. They are high-value men. This is who they want. And if you cannot compete, you're not going to get the woman that you want. You're not going to get remarried. You're not going to have a wife. Because once again, we're living in a society that does not value traditional wedding vows. They do not care what the Bible says about not leaving your husband. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. If you think the Bible is sexist, you can take that up with God, because this is what the Bible says. It says, "Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. But I speak this by permission, and not of commandment. For I would that all men were even as I myself," which Paul was single, by the way. He said, "I wish everybody was single like me. But every man has his proper gift of God, one after this manner, and another after that. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I." He's talking about being single. "But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn." And here's the key verse I wanted to point out to you right here. "And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband." This is a gender-specific command. Very few commands are gender specific, but this one is speaking specifically to the wife to not depart from her husband. That means don't divorce him. Okay? God understands the female nature better than human beings do. So, if he says don't depart, that means stay put. But what's going on is that they're all leaving. They're exiting the door and saying, this ain't for me. I can be single. I can have my 4 or 5 boyfriends and live the dream. And that's fine if you want to do that. If you want to live that way, you don't have to answer to me. You have to answer to God. That's totally your decision. But all I'm saying is, guys, be aware. And if you have any questions about what I was talking about earlier, about, oh, she needs to put out once a week, it's right here. Talks about let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. That word benevolence means love. So the husband is supposed to love his wife and give her what she's owed. Love and affection. And it says, and it doesn't leave out the wife either. It says, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. Hey, wives, guess what? You have a special duty to submit to your husband. I was talking to somebody the other day. I asked her the question. I said, how much does it cost for you to submit to your husband? How much does he have to make every year? And she goes, oh, you're disgusting. Get away from me. I will never submit. Oh, you won't submit, huh? You want to be a boss queen and have your army of dudes. That's fine. This is America. All right. We're living in the land of liberty, so you can do what you want. But don't be upset when the guys figure it out and they say, you know what? Bump this. 2 can play at that game. And when men figure it out, even in the church, it's game on, buddy. It's game on. And guess what, guys? We need to fix this problem about being depressed in our older age. If your wife leaves you, don't cry. See it as an opportunity. Be like, you know what? She annoyed the tar out of me anyways. Because if you're not going to take your vows seriously, guess what? I'm going to do what I want when you leave. But I'm going to be faithful. I'm going to be faithful and loyal to my vows to death. And that's how real men are, and that's how we treat marriage. All right, guys, let me hop off my soapbox here. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave a comment down in the comments below. And leave your socials as well if you need to speak with me and have questions for me and what you should do for your particular situation. I will give you exactly what the Bible says. I will tell you what God says to do, and I'll also give you my opinion as best as I can without breaking conscience or integrity. So, because this is an important subject, the church needs to hear it. And guys, you need to take back control. You need to take back control. This is a man's world. God is male. And there is a certain order for things to be done. Husband's the head, the wife is not. Okay? That's how it's supposed to be. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I am BP, signing out.